through the looking glass and what Alice found there. Chapter 8. It's my own invention. After a while, the noise disappeared, and Alice looked around. She was alone. Her thoughts were interrupted by a loud shouting of "Ahoy, ahoy, check!" and a knight dressed in red came galloping to her. When he reached her, he stopped. "You are my prisoner," the knight cried. But Alice was more frightened for him than for herself at the moment, because he fell down from the horse. When he was again in the saddle, he began once more, "You are my—" But here another voice cried, "Ahoy, ahoy, check!" and Alice looked round. This time it was a white knight. He came up to Alice and fell off his horse just as the red knight had done. Then he got on again, and the two knights sat and looked at each other. "She's my prisoner, you know," the red knight said at last. "Yes, but then I came and saved her," the white knight said. "Well, we must fight for her then," said the red knight, and put his helmet on. "You will follow the rules of battle, of course," the white knight said. "I always do," said the red knight, and they began fighting. "I wonder what the rules of battle are," she said to herself. The battle ended when both knights fell off their horses. When they got up, they shook hands, and then the red knight went away. "It was a victory, wasn't it?" said the white knight. "I don't know," Alice said doubtfully. "You will be a queen when you cross the next brook," said the white knight. "I'll help you to get to the end of the wood, and then I must go back. That's the end of my move." "Thank you very much," said Alice. He turned his gentle face and large kind eyes to Alice. She thought she had never seen such a strange-looking soldier in all her life. His armor fit him very badly, and he had a strange little letter box across his shoulder. It was upside down. "I see you like my little box," the knight said. "It's my own invention. I keep clothes and sandwiches here." "But the things can't fall out," Alice said. "Do you know that the lid's open?" "I didn't know that," the knight said. "Then all the things have fallen out, and the box is useless," and he hung it carefully on a tree. "I hope some bees can make a nest in it, then I will get the honey," said the knight. "But you've got already a beehive or something like it on your saddle," said Alice. "Yes, it's a very good beehive," the knight said, "but there are no bees, and the other thing is a mouse trap. I think the mice keep the bees out." "I don't think there are any mice on the horse's back," said Alice. "Perhaps," said the knight, "but if they come, I'll be ready." Alice and the knight walked some time in silence. They stopped very often, and Alice helped the poor knight, who was not a good rider. "I'm afraid you haven't had much practice in riding," she said when she was helping him. The knight looked very much surprised and a little offended. "What makes you say that?" he asked. "Because people don't fall off so often when they've had enough practice." There was a short silence after this, and then the knight went on again. "I'm great at inventing things. Just now I was inventing a new way how to get over a gate. Would you like to hear it?" "Yes, please," Alice said politely. "I'll tell you," said the knight. "First, I put my head on the top of the gate, then I stand on my head, then the feet are high, you see, then I'm over." "Yes, I think you'd be over," Alice said thoughtfully, "but don't you think it would be very difficult?" "I haven't tried it yet," the knight said, "so I can't tell now." Alice decided to change the subject. "What a curious helmet you've got," she said cheerfully. "Is that your invention too?" The knight looked proudly at his helmet, which hung on the saddle. "Yes," he said, "but I've invented a better one than that, like a sugar loaf. When I wore it, if I fell off the horse, it always touched the ground directly, so I had a very little way to fall, you see. But there was a danger I could fall into it." The knight raised his hands as he said this, rolled out of the saddle, and fell into a hole. Alice ran up to him to help him. Then she heard that he kept on talking in his usual tone. "How can you keep on talking?" Alice asked as she helped him to stand. "My mind goes on working all the same, and here I must leave you." They had just come to the end of the wood. "You are sad," the knight said. Let me sing you a song." "Is it a very long?" Alice asked. "It's long," said the knight, "but very, very beautiful." He stopped his horse, and with a weak smile he began singing. When the knight sang the last words of the song, he said, "You have to go only a few yards," he said, "down the hill and over that little brook. Then you'll be a queen." They shook hands, and then the knight rode slowly away into the forest. Alice ran down the hill. "The 8th square at last!" she cried when she jumped over the brook. "Oh, how glad I am to get here! And what is on my head?" she asked. Alice put her hands up to something very heavy round her head. It was a golden crown. This is the end of chapter 8. Thank you for listening. and subscribe to Kuzra School.